Okay, so welcome back. This is the Axios Fux podcast. It gets better every time I say it now, but we wanted to give you guys the best episode probably ever created. I'd say the best one ever created, in my opinion.
I think so too.
Last week we had one. Christian was stupid, lost the file somehow, and Joe Biden ended up taking it. So we can't get that back. So we're going to make it up to you, give you a better version of it. We're going to include stats, numbers, our viewpoints, and basically what we're creating now that I think you guys are going to be interested in. What do you think, Christian?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Do you want me to go into backstory? Kind of where
Let's
this
do a backstory, yeah.
Okay, so long story short, I went out last night. And typically I don't go out too much. And I ended up having some Don Julio, a couple of drinks, tequilas. And I woke up this morning and typically for listeners, if you guys go out and drink, you probably experience this. The next morning, you almost have that feeling of like, I don't know, like a level of down, right? You just kind of regret everything, right?
So depressed. You can feel the chemicals in your brain are just deflated.
Yeah, like what you were set out to do today, let's say you were out last night, what you're set out to do today, you're doing actually at 50%. I just read the Liver King. He said if you don't get enough sleep, you actually lose about 50% of your testosterone.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big deal. So basically, went out, had some drinks, had a good time, a few different places. But fast forward to this morning, I was already in that state of like, oh my God, my day's kind of ruined. And I had a conversation with someone, and the conversation basically entailed the fact that there's so much randomity, and it made me just think at the end of the day, like we talked about, Christian, at the end of the day, it's you, yourself, and I, right? In the grave, you're going to be just by yourself. Your day to day, you're walking around, it's your body, it's your mind. There can be people around you, but it's not you. So in times like that, that's when you kind of realize that you really got to focus on just bettering yourself, always getting better, and trying to find people that are going to, I guess, coincide with your beliefs and better it. Is that right? What do you say that's accurate?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, for example, if you ask somebody who is not in real estate how to write up a contract for an offer or anything along those lines, you're going to get a crappy answer. So let's say, for example, if you call somebody when you're having a bad day and you're looking for a solution to your problem, you're not going to go to the person that's just going to not understand what you're going through. So for example, me and Vasily, we talk to each other all the time. We call each other, even though he's in Massachusetts, I'm in Florida, because we're on the same wavelength when it comes to certain things. We're going to get into those things, but for the most part, they're things that everyone deals with on a daily basis. For example, income, for example, health, for example, relationships. These are things that we all have on a daily basis, but here's the difference, is that when Vasily calls me and is talking about income or is talking about relationships or is talking about health, I give him like actual advice from a person that's going through the same thing. Now, if I can do the same thing to Vasily, I can talk to Vasily, hey, dude, this is happening with my, whether it be my health, my income, or a relationship, he'll do that same thing reciprocated. But if you go to ask, for example, if you ask a fat guy about health advice, you're going to get a crappy answer. If you ask a broke guy about income advice, you're going to get a crappy answer. And frankly, if you ask a girl, about relationship advice when, you're a guy.
She hasn't been in a good relationship.
I mean, I would honestly say though that in a lot of instances, a girl shouldn't really be giving advice to a guy about a relationship. I think a guy would be the best person to do that, because there's certain answers that a guy would give that would be way different than a girl would give.
It's biased. Well, it's so biased either way. You know what I'm saying?
It's very, very different. And that's why sometimes, we hear all the time, hey, go to the person that you're having the issue with and communicate with them. Now that's good. But what if that person doesn't have, like, what if that although they have great intentions, what if that's not the best advice actually?
Correct.
It's almost like, okay, let's say you and your spouse, or you and your somebody is in a relationship. You both are struggling with income problems. Are you going to go to that person for an income question? No, you're not going to
They
go.
probably will, but they're not. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. Or same thing. What if you and the person that you're in a relationship with are fat? You're going to ask the other person, hey, what should I do? No, you're not going to do that. You're going to go to somebody who's maybe doing better in that area, or has the desirable results that you're looking for.
And that's kind of going to bring us to the point of one thing, and I've been a big advocate for kind of explaining this to people, but today on social media, you're seeing that there's a bunch of influencers that are millionaires, billionaires, and they're giving you advice. And this advice is probably very useful, but only until you hit a certain point. There's I'll get like the drippings, like this is like literally the drippings from the pine tree is what it is for their information, and I'll use the drip, and that helps me, but there's an extent in which it can be useful. So what me and Christian are creating is a membership where you guys can get in touch with people who think the same way and aren't in a completely different wavelength, wavelength or stratosphere. So it can be relative to what you're dealing with, not the cost of fueling your jet, but the cost of fueling your stupid 2005 Nissan Altima. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're complaining to a billionaire about your gas prices for your Altima, which is a piece of crap, 2005, he's gonna give you not bad advice, but irrelevant advice. In my opinion.
Exactly. And also another thing is that here's another thing that I heard the other day from one of my mentors. So he was like, you see all these gurus, right? In the same sentence that they're telling you to cut off from people who maybe are bad energy, low energy, not successful, blah, blah, blah. In that same sentence, they're talking about operate from abundance, do all these things, when in reality, somebody who is operating from abundance, somebody who does know their worth and know their value, they are going to help the person that needs the help, right? So these gurus, they've gotten to a point where it's like, it's so contradicting. How can you say, hey, don't help the little guy, but also in the same sentence, I'm abundant, be abundant, and operate from this abundant standpoint? Because a lot of these gurus at this point in time, if they've gotten big enough, their content becomes so diluted and invaluable that they're really not helping.
Save your money. Save your money.
It's just it's so irrelevant, so diluted. When you're building somebody up, you have to get dirty. You have to get in the dirt, and you have to get dirty. You can't be on a stage speaking to a crowd and helping people. No. Like, you can motivate them. That's different, though. You're motivating them. But are you really helping them? They're going to leave that conference and be gone in 3 days. But when you get through a membership program, like what me and Vasily are doing, you're in our corner, or we're in your corner.
Just to give you an example, like, you can probably tell I'm pretty sunburned. I'm pretty sunburned at this point. I just made the decision to, for no reason at all, just to compete with myself. I ran a half marathon on yesterday. Yesterday.
Which is nuts.
Which I didn't, that half marathon, 13.1 miles, never ran that far in my life. If I was to have ran a full marathon at that time, I would be considered fairly quick. But it wasn't like I practiced. I didn't really practice. I run 5Ks, maybe once or twice, 3 times a week if I'm really pushing it. And I just think that's more relative, like those small things, like developing that mindset of doing those things. It's just different, man. It's just so different than we're talking about these problems that these bigger people have. And kudos to them. Kudos to them.
They're not helping the little guy anymore.
No, dude. No.
They really aren't. I mean, I would say their beginning content is.
Yeah.
But how many, like, it's at a certain point, even that gets diluted when it's brought up again and again and again. But let's get into the stats. Did you have anything else before I get into it?
No, I want to go over. Let's go over. Well, price. What this membership's going to be? What did we say? Was it $297 or something a month?
49.
Oh, 49. So we're giving him a big discount, huh? We're giving him. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
I
I'm
mean,
messing with
only
you.
for the time being, probably for the first
Yeah.
month, you know?
Yeah.
Probably just for
Yeah.
the first month, because
$49.
yeah, we'll get people and we'll try to build a community as quick as possible. Now, with that being said, we also realize, like what I mentioned to you, Vasily, the level that, I mean, we're going over stats right now because, and these stats are going to show you that there's a bottom percentile, which is probably 90 to 95% in every category of life, in health, in your income, and in your relationships. It's all going to be the bottom category because everyone's operating with the same information. Clearly, it's the wrong information. But that's just to say the fact that we're very, very aware at how many little people think the way we think. And the reason I'm telling you guys that is because the value in this group is not that there's a lot of people. The value in this group, especially early on, is going to be the fact that you've actually found somebody, I would say even in, in the US, that is accessible by phone number to think the way that you think. Because obviously you guys are noticing two brothers right now who had to go in their own household just to find people that think the way they think. Because outside, it's actually very difficult to find people the way that think the way that you think. I know for me, I've only met a few people in my lifetime that I personally can connect with that are my age that think the way I think. Only a few, and that's outside of my household. But and I'm talking about that I connect with, and I actually like on a personal basis that I know their family, and then that type of thing. That took a while, and so that's why this is very valuable for that sense, because it's very rare to find people that think the way we think and that are actually seeking the correct information, because everyone else is clearly screwing up. So
okay. Let's go over the finance, because I have one amazing stat. Once you can tell the average incomes, I'm gonna give you a stat.
Okay,
to show you exactly where things are headed.
So the median earnings in 2020, and for men, and from 2019 to 2020, it was a 1% change. So for all you guys that's saying that, COVID changed this a bunch, it really didn't. For men, it was $49,389. For women, it was $35,838. And in total, it was $41,535. So that does include part-time and full-time, but both combined, men and women, for 2020, again, it didn't change much from 2019, was $41,535. And this is, by the way, this is from the census.gov.com. We will put
actual reputable
below the YouTube
source.
Yeah. Should I go with the next one, or stay with that?
Yeah. I let's stay with that. I just think it's kind of funky. I think it's kind of funky. Listen, it could mean two different things. First, but at the same time, Chris, we were rising. This appears saying for until early running period average has look great. So basically, since 2010, I'm gonna try to interpret it in the way I think this is, like, I believe this is what it would be, how I would think about it and looking at it. So 2010, the average credit score in the US was 687. 687 was the average credit score. Since then, every year it's increased up to now 714.
Wow.
That's the average credit score.
That's really good.
But it's really good, but how do you get your credit score up typically?
Paying off credit cards?
Or, and what do you have to do to pay off credit cards first?
You have to make more money.
Accrue debt. We have to accrue debt first.
Right.
You have to accrue debt. So Americans have more consumer debt than ever before, holding a total of 14.3 trillion
Mm.
in debt in the first quarter of 2020. So every year we increase our debt and our scores go up. And when your score goes up, you can consume more debt. So I think it's kind of funny because it doesn't seem
That
like
is
cash on
true. Yeah.
hand, so cash on hand is down, but credit scores are higher.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
So
that's very strange.
it's very weird, right? Because in the state of Massachusetts, the average credit score right now is a 732.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
just a weird stat, random stat I want to throw out there. You can go to the next thing.
Okay. Okay, so next, health, because obviously, me and Vasily, we're not trying to excel at one thing. I've already tried to do the thing where, you're only excelling at business, and I got fat. I tried to do the thing where I only focus on a relationship, and I got fat and broke. And then and what I find is that when I focus on my health, everything goes better. Truth.
So much better, man.
Everything goes
Life
better
is
when you
so much
focus on your
better.
health. There's certain things that you can take, that you learn from that discipline to apply to your income or apply to your relationship, right? Because no one wants a fat slob anyways. So
No.
it's not going to help your relationship regardless. Or if you can't
Facts.
even have any, if you're getting tired after one pump.
Yeah,
Okay.
no one's gonna be happy about that. No one's gonna be
Yeah,
happy about
me and
that.
Vasily are going
You're gonna
4 to 6 times. I'm just kidding. Um, so anyways, so let's go on to health, right? Health for men in 2021, 37.9% of men were obese. 41% of women were obese. Now, that doesn't go overweight. That doesn't include overweight or anything like that. This is just obesity. Next, we have relationships. So the reason being is that,
wait, say the obesity thing again, please, one more time.
yeah, so 2021, men,
Mhm.
37.9%, so 38% were obese. 38%.
Oh my God, it's literally millions of people.
Millions, yeah.
Millions.
I mean, there's over 300 million people in the US, so this is over 100 million.
And dude, the sick thing about it is the fact that it only can really increase unless there's a major change, because obesity produces obesity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
exactly.
like if you have an obese type lifestyle in terms of what you eat, what you're doing, those type of disciplines, the next generation is going to be even worse. So
Yeah.
it only will get worse unless you do something to combat it, and that would be probably outlaw Twinkies, like, or something like that. I don't know.
You're not only passing on those fat genes, but you're also just like,
Which is a thing. Which is literally
yeah.
a thing. I didn't know that. Fat genes is a thing.
And then for women, it's 41%.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was in 2000 they started publishing Calvin Klein's with just like really fat people. I think it was 2000 or
Yeah.
2010 or something. No, yeah, I don't know. I just saw an ad, but don't quote me on that.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously everyone's seen that now.
And it's not, and it's just made to be okay. It's like, why would it ever
Yeah.
be okay to be unhealthy? It's going to destroy the average lifespan.
Right. Yeah. So
Your heart is not going to work. It's a bad idea. I don't know. I never, that whole argument, be comfortable in your own skin, even if you're like 100 pounds overweight, doesn't make any sense to me. But it's okay. I'm not even going to get into that. It just makes no sense.
and then there is should I go on to the relationship thing?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so basically the reason that we wanted to include this is because everyone has relationships in their life, right? And this doesn't even just go to show that there's relationship issues between men and women, but like also just like if there's this many issues with men and women, there's obviously going to be that same thing with like other people in your life, right? Because people just they're not operating with the right information. And I'm not saying that I have the right information when it comes to relationships, but what I will say is that I know when something's wrong, and I know when there's an actual problem, because your entire other aspects of your life are going down. There's no reason to be in a relationship if your life is going downward. Okay. If your life is going downwards.
That is one thing, including health. I mean, health is pretty, it's very, well, it's actually, the thing is, it's funny how it works. If you get overweight, if you start gaining weight and you're not in good shape, the relationship problems probably occur, but then vice versa. Relationship problems occur, you get overweight or you become obese. So that's why I said
that when I got in a relationship, I got broke and fat. Yeah, when I focused on my income, I just got fat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least I had a lot of money.
Yeah, it's true.
So, I mean, there's no reason why you should be in a relationship if everything else in your life is just catastrophic.
Yeah. Just
catastrophic. So let's get into those numbers. In 2020, there were 1.676,911 marriages and 630,505 divorces. So that's 37% divorce rate. So that was in
2020.
2020.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine. I'm sure
like the same thing. It was 37%.
And you got to figure out what is the percentage of, there's probably some like domestic issues, and then there's probably there's probably so many variables, but it leads to such a basic problem. There's a core problem to all of it. There is, because maybe they no longer literally are physically attracted to them, or they're broke, or
the number one reason for divorce is financial.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's a financial matter.
Wow, what?
Yeah.
So they suspect it to be better when they get divorced.
I don't know, but like imagine if you're broke with somebody, there's going to be a lot of other issues that pop up.
I see what you're saying.
But also from 2000 to 2020, to give you an idea, in 2000 there was 2.3 million marriages. In 2020 there was 1.6.
Yeah, it's 400,000 decrease in 20 years.
That means no, that's 700,000.
Oh shoot.
700,000 difference. Yeah, I mean the amount of people that are getting married nowadays is way less, and yeah.
So you guys take that like how you want to take it. I mean, the thing is, there's a problem, and me and Christian are trying to provide something.
I'm at the age where, a lot of my friends are married. Actually, yeah, they either are. I mean, 3 of my best friends are either married, 2 of them are married, and 1 of them has kids.
Yeah.
So I'm at that age where this is where things like this start happening, and it's not a bad thing at all, but like it is something to notate that 37%. Like if I were to get into marriage tomorrow, I would have to know that there's a very high likelihood. I mean, you're not going to invest in a stock like that with a 37%
with millions of dollars, because you're if you're going to be with them for 20, 30 years,
exactly.
Even if you're at a $40,000 income,
probably not going to. If I were to tell you, hey, you could double your money in 10 years or something, or triple or quadruple, but there's a 37% and going up and climbing, like, and I've heard
losing everything.
Chance of you losing, like, yeah, at all, of it not working out, like, because that's what a divorce is basically. You bet on this person and this relationship to work out, not on the person, I guess, just the relationship to work out, and then it didn't, right? So that is a failure.
It is.
You know what I mean? Because you bet on the relationship, it didn't. It's like a stock. It's a pump and dump stock. You know what I mean?
Pump and dump, literally a pump and dump.
It's somebody who put this big thing about this stock that was going to be so successful, and you realize it was just a penny stock that somebody lied to you, like Jordan Belfort.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, yeah, I mean, all these things have a lot of. I mean, there's so many issues. But I
mean, who really goes up to their friend? If you were to get married tomorrow, I mean, I wouldn't be the person to say, "Hey, Vasily, You know, I mean, and there's two reasons.
I would say it to you. I would definitely say it to you, big dude.
Yeah, I
Listen,
mean,
it's
no,
37% chance.
I would, but I'm saying like the average person is not going
Correct.
to go up to their friend and say, hey, like, hey, the average failure rate or 37% failure rate, and then also on top of that, you know, the biggest reason is it could also be like income issues, things like that. I mean, I don't think people. I think another thing that, and I remember, I think Papu said this, our grandfather, is that, you know, make sure you're set yourself before you get into something like that. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Because I mean, there's a lot of risk when it comes to that, but
Yeah. I mean, I think that's good, dude. Well, one last word is, so like we said, the membership, it's going to be out. Well, the membership's going to be available. We're going to be working on that. We're going to have a clothing
yeah, I
line.
want
It's
to
going to
say
be coming out.
two things about that, but after you go.
Yeah, and then we're going to also have a clothing line coming out.
Yep.
We're going to give you guys some ideas, probably some drawings of what it's going to look like in the near future, I'd say. But it's going to be great. Overall, it's going to be great. You guys are going to like it.
So
Quality.
Yeah. So I mean, back to the phone call that Vasily had with me and Vasily, we go back and forth all the time. Is when I have an issue with one of these three areas of my life, I go to Vasily. He gives me some quality advice that is very applicable. Right. That's
It's
the
down to
biggest
earth.
thing.
It's just
It's
down to earth. It's down
It's
to earth.
applicable. It's good. And even if I can't take action, he'll tell me, you know, or I'll tell him like, okay, the only thing that you can do is get better. And that's really your only option. You know, the harsh reality of some things about life just will hurt your spirit. But the only way that you can get up from under it is to get better. And we're always talking about how we can get better in all these areas. So the last thing that I wanted to say is do not join the membership if you do not have these two qualities, because at the same time with us wanting people, we also don't want babies. We don't want babies, crybabies or victims. You know what I mean? We want to help people, but you have to have these two things. Number one, you have to have urgency in anything that you do. You can't be working at Amazon for 6 months and be in the membership course for 6 months.
Yeah, no.
We're not going to allow that. You're going to get kicked the fuck out. You're gone after. So number one is urgency. If you work a minimum wage job for 6 months after joining the membership, I mean, I'll tell you right now, and it'll probably go like 5 months and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 over time. But if you got to eat, and at the very least, you have to have an exit strategy, an exit plan, because there's no way you're going to have that minimum wage job and
think like that. There's just no way.
And get out from under these stats. So that's what this is about.
I love that, actually. That's facts. I didn't even think about it. Yeah, that's like how you live. That's how we're going to vet you.
Imagine we started we start the group. It's May, June, July, August, September, October. Jeremy still is working at Amazon and he's jumping on our calls. Jeremy, get the fuck out of here. Get the hell out of here. Listen, me and Vasily, we worked at Amazon too. So we're not bashing Amazon. They give, actually, to be completely honest, they give you free schooling after 90 days. They give you great health benefits and they give you good pay and good hours. And you can do a flexible and flexible working hours and you can get overtime and all this.
But you can't think though this way. You can't think this way operating like that. You can't.
So I don't care if you're working at Amazon, Walmart, Publix, you can always join. But what I will tell you is that you will be held to a new standard. Me and Vasily, we make over 6 figures. We don't talk to people on like a basis if we're not trying to either, number one, help them or learn from them if they make over our incomes. But we don't talk to people who just are stagnant. I don't care if you've been making $100,000 for every year for 30 years or whatever it is. We only want to talk to people that are doing better than us or that we're helping bring up.
And that they're willing to actually do it. Because that's the thing. A lot of people talk about they're going to do something.
The second thing is that I wrote down is desire. You have to want to be better. So there's urgency, the aspect of urgency, which there is a time frame. So you will be kicked out if you do not excel.
Yeah, because even that $49, dude, for that pay is going to hurt you.
Yeah. Exactly. That's a fact.
Honestly,
It will. No, it will.
it will hurt you. It will hurt you. That's a gas. I mean, it's not much, but it's a full gas, semi full gas tank right now.
It
So
is. And it's also, okay, what do you want? Do you want your Spotify, YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, and Prime membership? Or do you want this? Because that's when you're
yeah,
making that income, which the average, again, we went over at 41,535, which I'm going to say this one last thing, but when you're doing that, you're on a budget. So let me tell you this one last thing. It's on my business page, the Axios group. This is just going over this, right? So 41,000 is the average, right? So now I'm going to give you what you actually need if you have regular bills, if you're a normal person and maybe you have one kid. Even if you don't, I'm going to go over how I'm going to, like, all that 41,000 is gone. Rent 1,300, car and insurance 775, gas 270, phone 70, light and water 185, student loans 393, childcare, if you have a child, is $1,000 a month. If you don't, just delete that. Credit card payment average is 110, and groceries 386 a month. So the math is 4,666 a month. If you don't have a kid, it's 3,666 a month. And we're obviously missing some here, but that's a total of 56K salary, right? So you really shouldn't be popping up kids if you have under that. Now, obviously, everybody makes mistakes. Everyone has those days, but
the extra pump, you know.
Yeah, that's just to say that, on this income, let's say you don't have the kid, the 56 minus 12, you're at 44. No, sorry, 44. That's still more than what you make a year, or most.
You're in a deficit, and that's where credit card debt is. That's what that 110 to the credit card's paying. It's paying last year's debt.
I don't even think there was haircuts on there.
There's not haircuts. There's probably not gym memberships.
There's not haircuts. There's not AirPod costs. There's not. Also, like me and Vasily, we buy these vitamins, right? Literally just a vitamin thing is like $45, $40. If you buy creatine,
every single month you need it.
Yeah, every month, because you take one scoop. I mean, C4 or any pre-workout. If you like to treat yourself to a Diet Coke, God forbid, you're screwed.
It's true. It's true. You can't even have a simple pleasures with that.
That was 386.
And there's nothing.
There's no. That's no.
And
eating.
that's not even honorable. It's not honorable. You know what I mean? Like, some people will justify, validate themselves saying that's honorable. It's not.
So please, like, don't join the group if you're gonna be if you're not gonna have that urgency.
Yeah, I like that. I think we wrap that up.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay, dude. Well, I'll see you guys later. Make sure you subscribe, like, if you're on YouTube, also Spotify. Share with a friend.
Okay. Talk to you later, Vasily.
I'll see you later, dude. I'll get this uploaded tonight.
Okay, sweet. Bye.
Peace.